could gather around, find your seats, find a place to stand. Great turnout today. I thank each and every one of you for joining us here today. Welcome to the Justice James E.C. Perry Courthouse Annex grand opening, where we celebrate both the completion of this building and honor the man that's named after, Justice Perry. We will begin with an invocation delivered by Reverend Preston Adams of the PAJ Help Ministries. Pastor.
Let us stand. Praise God. That's what it is. Hold on 1 second. All right. Let's bow our heads. Father God, we know that you stand in the presence of us all and this building, where justice is to be administered to all, upon all, in all, and through all. We pray that every one who comes through these doors will be treated fairly with justice, being administered in love, forgiveness, without favoritism, and that the poor and needy will receive justice administered fairly as defendants, plaintiffs, and or victims. And all who comes through these doors are looking for truth and justice, and that the name embedded in the stone on this building will be a constant reminder to all not to allow emotions to dictate their actions and or decisions, but remember that the person to whom this building is named set an example of fair and equal justice for all. We thank you, we praise you, and we glorify you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. And now please rise for the presentation of colors by our Joint Honor Guard from the Seminole County Fire Department and Seminole County Sheriff's Office. Remain standing, and Commissioner Lockhart will lead us in the pledge. Commissioner.
Detail. Halt. Left. Face. Present. Off.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Up. Right. Face. Forward. Walk.
Thank you, Commissioner Lockhart, and thank you, Pastor, very much. It's our hope that the Justice James E.C. Perry Courthouse Annex and the vision behind the entire consolidated centralized Five Points complex does justice to Justice Perry and the trailblazing career he has had. Thank you to the Seminole County Bar Association member attorneys Gary Siegel and Ryan Yendov, which assisted us with research and naming the annex in honor of Justice Perry. This has been a true team effort as the courthouse annex is one step of a much larger project, the 5 Points Master Plan. As we celebrate the grand opening today, I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners for their hard work and dedication. Vice Chair Commissioner Herr, Commissioner Lee Constantine, Commissioner Bob Delary, and Commissioner Amy Lockhart. Born out of the foresight of some of the past commissioners, our master plan recognized the need for centralized government services as we prepare for the future of Seminole County. So to all elected officials and judges present in the crowd, thank each and every one of you. The perseverance in seeing the first phase of 5 Points Master Plan comes to fruition deserves a round of applause, so please all stand to be recognized. Thank you. That's probably the only time I'll ever get to ask judges to stand up. The first phase of 5 Points expansion also included the construction of utility upgrades, a chiller plant designed to handle the additional cooling needs of new buildings, a parking garage across the street, which I'm sure with a crowd like this, many of you had the availability to use that. The annex building itself adds 104,000 square foot of usable space to the 5 Points complex, hosting offices for the clerk of the court, public defender, state attorney, and Seminole County Sheriff's Office. For more on how this building will be used daily, I'd like to introduce the Honorable Charlie Crawford, Chief Judge of the 18th Judicial Court.
I know your program's, I know it's a new age, but I'm not Melanie Chase, just so. Judge Chase was kind enough to let me speak. She was going to be here for you. My trial settled, Justice, so I was able to join you, and it's an honor to be here. What a great day and what a great facility, huh? On behalf of the 18th Circuit Judiciary and Court Administration, I'd like to thank the county commissioners and everyone in the county administration that was involved for your foresight and forward thinking to provide the citizens of Seminole County with a modern facility that will serve the community long after we're gone. It will allow the entire court system to be in one place with better efficiencies for everyone. Now I just need to get the commissioners from Brevard County to come over and see how to do it right. That's next on my agenda. So thank you all for being here and joining us to recognize Justice Perry. And for more on Justice Perry, I'd like to introduce Judge John Galuzzo.
Good afternoon. I'm here because Justice Perry asked me to say a few words. For those of you who have known me through my entire legal career, that's pretty hard to do. I have 75 pages here, so if you'll bear with me for the next 29 minutes, we'll get through this. Today is a great day for the citizens of Seminole County and one to honor a great man. Over a decade ago, and quite frankly for time before that, and those of you who know me as well know that I have to sprinkle myself into this process or it just wouldn't be me. And Justice Perry said, be you. So I began a conversation with the then county manager to discuss the consolidation of the courthouses. We talked about actually building a parking garage to the civil courthouse down on the lake, renovating that courthouse, and discovered the cost would be astronomical. So we went through a lot of different discussions over a lot of different lunches. And unfortunately, or fortunately for her, I did land use planning work a long time ago. And I told her, why don't we just build it here? And she said it'll cost $2 million to mitigate the wetlands that were there. And I said, why don't we just build it here? So through all that, we still have, she's no longer with us in that capacity, but we still have lunch and have that discussion and at least the joys of enjoying those times when we talked about it. I never thought I'd have the honor of standing here before you and making this presentation of this man who is so rightfully named, the building is so rightfully named after. I'm honored to be the person given this great opportunity to introduce Justice James E.C. Perry at this historic event. I've known Justice Perry, who befriended me many, many years ago when I was a young lawyer, and with great affection for a great man, I get to call him my friend, my colleague, and most importantly, my brother. So when we see each other and he takes those big bare paws of hands, which he has, and grabs my hand and gives me a hug, it always feels special, because that is the man that he is, a special man. Jim, as I'm allowed to call him and continue to call him as his friend, was born in New Bern, North Carolina. There are two famous things that have come out of New Bern, North Carolina, which is a small North Carolina coastal town. A man who was born there destined to become a justice of the Florida Supreme Court, and where Pepsi was invented in 1890 in a drugstore there. So I'll let you decide which one is more effervescent. Jim grew up in the projects in that small southern city, but went on to do so many great things. He graduated college from St. Augustine University with a degree in business administration and accounting. He also honorably served during the Vietnam crisis, or war as some like to call it, reaching the rank of first lieutenant. He went on to graduate from Columbia Law School, which all of you know is a very prestigious Ivy League law school. There he met his lovely wife, Adrienne, and who was also the former mayor of the city of Longwood, where they still now live. They raised three wonderful children, Jamon, Camilla, and Willis, who are here, and two of whom followed in their father's footsteps as attorneys, one who is a human resources manager, and all who embody the traits and characteristics of their parents, who made sure they were not only servants to God, but also charitable to others. Justice Perry has also been a champion of African-American people and all people of all walks of life. When he applied to the Georgia Bar for admission, and when he came back here to the South, he was denied admission because of the color of his skin. He did not shy away from that challenge, but challenged the Georgia Bar, and he won. And he won not only for himself, but for countless thousands of others who would not be who they are today if he had not stood up for what was just and right. As a short aside, I have to share a personal issue with you about Jim and the comfort that we share together. As a young lawyer, Jim was always so very helpful and kind and jovial. His laugh, as many of you know, is very comforting. One day when I was applying for the second time to be appointed to the court, in walked Jim into my office over on 1792. Most people, including some of my elderly clients, did not know where the office was. I would say it was across from the High Life Fronton. I don't know where that is. It's just south of 436 on 1792. I'm not sure where it is. It's between the Club Wana, House of Babes, and Circus Circus. To the one, everybody knew where that was. So I was sitting there, and Jim came in, and it was the day before the applications were due, and he said, you know, Gary Siegel told me that you have the application on your computer, and I could come and get a copy of it for you so I could put my application in. And I think in my mind at that point in time I smiled, but probably I didn't. And I thought, well, there goes that one. But I gave him a floppy disk, if you remember what those were, and he applied. I made it out of the committee as well as he did. We both went to Tallahassee. He got appointed judge. I got 2 warm chocolate chip cookies from the DoubleTree Inn. Jim wanted me to make sure that you understood that 4 times? He applied 4 times to be appointed judge. So he was no stranger to having to put himself out there to ask for the appointment to office. But he said to me, and true to this day, no one keeps you down unless you let them. I took that to heart. I actually beat him 3 more times for appointment process because I went up 6 times. And to thank you to Judge Dickey, when I finally went to my first judges meeting, he said the governor finally got it right. I would say the same of Justice Perry, but 2 different governors got it right. And when Governor Bush appointed Jim, he said, James brings a high level of professionalism, knowledge, and skill to the bench. His community service and commitment to the Jackie Robinson Little League demonstrates his dedication to the community. I am confident his experience, strong commitment, and dedication will continue to be an asset to the 18th Circuit and this state. Jim went on to become our chief judge a few years after his appointment. And that, at the time, and maybe you don't know this, Brevard County used to always have the chief judge position. And Judge Freeman at the time suggested that he run for that position. So Jim went about doing what he always does. He gathered up the best way to handle this. He went around and got all the support of the judges that he needed to be successful. So when a Brevard judge told him, "Don't bother running, we already have our candidate," Jim said to that judge, "I wasn't asking for your permission." And so that tells you a bit about the character, tenacity, and courage of this great man. He also won unanimously. A man who rises to every challenge and defends his right to equality and never lets anyone else believe they are not entitled to that same equality. Justice Perry participated in many groups in service to children. The most memorable for me is his creation of the Jackie Robinson Sports Association, where he built a baseball league serving 650 at-risk youth. The coaches also served as mentors for the children to foster them in a sense of their own identity and help them pursue a better life and fulfill the dreams we all hope that our children can fulfill. When I was appointed in 2006 by Governor Bush, Jim, along with Alan Dickey, Judge Dickey, were the two judges who guided me in learning how to be a judge and not a lawyer. In the first 2 weeks on the bench, I was doing an evidentiary hearing in a divorce trial, and I suddenly heard, "Objection, hearsay." And I realized that was me. The lawyers smiled at me, and I actually said to them, "Never mind, just keep going." But I knew from that point in time exactly what both of them had tried to teach me. Over the years, I've been graced with his knowledge, wisdom, and compassion as a lawyer, friend, judge, and justice. One of the lessons he imparted on me was simply this. He said, "John, never forget to be compassionate, patient, and understanding of the people who come in front of you, especially the ones who cannot afford a lawyer. Everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, and especially those brave enough to face you without a lawyer, knowing you hold their lives and future in their hands. Show them the courtesy and respect they deserve, regardless of what they're there for." After his term as chief judge and circuit judge, Governor Charlie Crist appointed Jim to be the first judge from Seminole County to ever be appointed to an appellate court, and he appointed him as the 85th Justice of our Florida Supreme Court. He served with honor and distinction from 2009 through 2016, and during his time on the court, he authored many important decisions that affect all of us, as well as joining in other decisions, sharing his wisdom and knowledge of the law that will impact Floridians for many years to come. I'd like to personally thank Commissioner Zembauer for spearheading the efforts to name this beautiful building in honor of Justice Perry. When Jim was appointed to the Florida Supreme Court by Governor Crist, retired Judge Ken Lester and I thought it was fitting to approach the County Commission to name the Criminal Justice Center for him as well. We were told that we don't do that, he's not dead. In a kinder ways, but it seemed funnier that way. So. Our request was denied, but as you can see, we now have this beautiful building behind us named in his honor, as well as Don Esslinger Way, named after our famous sheriff here. Both Judge Lester and I were trial lawyers, so we just decided with Gary Siegel's help to get a big portrait of Justice Perry and made arrangements to have it hung in the Criminal Justice Center where it still hangs, and we invited the County Commission to join us for the celebration. So, Jim, as far as I'm concerned, both buildings now exist in your honor. It's my honor to ask Justice James E.C. Perry to come forward now and share with us his thoughts, as well as the dedication of this annex to the Seminole County Criminal Justice Center in his name.
Afternoon. I want to thank you all for coming to witness this momentous occasion. I want to give special thanks to the county commissioners who made this possible, and to the behind-the-scenes committee that were busy at work. I'm sure it took a lot of pull to make this happen. I had no idea this was coming. I want to thank Judge Galuzzo, John, for that wonderful introduction. I wish my mother was here to hear it. She would be happy and cry, and my father wouldn't believe it. I need to thank the members of the Judiciary for coming and showing support. I meant to bring my robe, but I just had an 80th birthday. I can't believe I'm the same age as old people. Hey. But it's really an honor to, before I forget it, my family's been introduced already, but I couldn't go back home if I didn't introduce them again. So family, my wife Adrian of 52 years, 1 year. I could have been out of prison by now. My sons, Willis and Jamon, and my baby girl, Camila. And I have so many relatives here and people who supported me throughout my plight, my journey, which has been the arduous one. I see Reggie Hicks back there, my former partner. It's been a long and arduous journey. When you see a turtle on top of a fence pole, you know that he didn't get there by himself. He had a lot of help. So I had a lot of help and support from my good friend Esther. Where's Ron? Ron, I said I wouldn't come in calling the names because that's all I'll be doing all day is calling names. So I'll just do it by groups. Family and friends, please stand to be acknowledged. If you can't stand, wave your hand. And I have my St. Augustine's University, my alma mater, represented here also. Has the president, my board members, Brian Boulware, Joe Lynn. Joe, where are you? Oh, you found it. Oh, okay. And I have my other son by another mother and father, Bruce Mount. And I need to thank Preston for the invocation, obviously. And he was a St. Aug person also, but he decided to transfer to Central, but that's okay. We forgive him. Oh, I said I wouldn't do this. I will not call names because there's too many. I want to thank all political people that are here, the members of the clergy, and every one of you who has attended this momentous occasion. This honor exceeds the wildest dreams and expectations of my ancestors, and also me. No way could I have thought or believed that this could happen during my lifetime. When Commissioner Zimbar called and asked me if I would allow them to name this beautiful edifice after me, I asked him, "Did you talk to my doctor?" I said, "But this is not reserved for people who are dead or dying." And I didn't know at the time I had prostate cancer. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm going to die from something, but not that. So I'm getting treatment at Mayo Clinic, and I mentioned this in Rochester, Minnesota. I mention this because I want each and every one of you, men and women, to talk with your loved ones and yourself to get checked, because no one should die from prostate cancer if it's caught in time. So do that for you and And ladies, your men, your fathers, and everybody else, make sure that they're protected. I really don't have a lot to say except that, you know, I've had buildings named after me before, but I bought them. Never could I have imagined that Seminole County would put my name on such a magnificent edifice. And the historical and cultural significance of this is not lost on me. And it should not be lost on you. But this is the indication of what can be if we all work together. And it is important that we maintain an independent judiciary, free from any politics, free from any favoritism, free from any pressure from anyone, because if we're going to maintain our democracy, those three pillars must stand. And this stool has three pillars, and the judiciary is a part of it. And if the judiciary fails, the system fails. So, I mean, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but just remember that. I know you're under a lot of pressure, and don't worry about your office. If you're doing a good job, they will keep you in there. So don't worry about that. And if not, you're confident you can work some other place. But I really, this is the honor of a lifetime. I mean, I don't know many people living that had a building named after them of this magnitude. I just don't. And I feel special. I feel privileged. And how many of you believe in miracles? How many have seen a miracle? All right. If you think you haven't seen one, just look at me. I'm it. From the projects, mother, first grade education, father, second grade education, first college graduate in my family, first to, I wouldn't be first to attend, first to graduate. And this was not on my agenda. And all the offices that I've applied for, I never, ever wanted to do it. I was always asked to do it. So it's important that somebody else think you should have this office other than yourself, or else you don't have the support. When I was called at the judicial conference in Jacksonville, I was asked to come and sit at the table of some Supreme Court justices and district court judges. And they called me over. They said, "Tell me about yourself." So I did. And they said, "Well, we want you to apply to the Supreme Court." I said, "I'm not interested. I don't want to move to Tallahassee. Besides, I have Magic season tickets. I have office overlooking the river. And I can handle my caseload. It's up to date. You can have a trial in 2 weeks if you want it. So why should I do that?" And they said, "Jim, it's really not about you. And it never has been about me. My life has been dedicated to public service and serving the public because I was a public servant who liked the public. So it's important that you like the public because otherwise you become an automaton. And treating everyone with dignity and respect was my mantra. And respect is something that you cannot demand. It's something you command by how you treat people. If you give it, it'll come back to you. So I'm not going to take much more time. My wife is giving me the time out. You know, I'm honored all over this state and part of the nation. When I go home, she said, "You got to take the garbage out." So now you know who's in charge. Thank you all, and thank you for coming.
Thank you, Justice Perry. Very well said. You've dedicated a lifetime of service to the community, and it's our hope that the Justice James E.C. Perry Courthouse Annex serves as a cornerstone of this community for years to come, much as you've served Seminole County and the state of Florida. Don't get too comfortable. If you join me on the stage, please, sir. It's my pleasure on the behalf of the Seminole County residents and the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners to hand you this rendering of your building and your memorial. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
And we've got another special guest with us today that wants to have a few words about Justice Perry, and that is President Marcus H. Burgess of the St. Augustine University. President Burgess, welcome. Thank you for being here, sir.
And I would like to ask the chair of the Board of Trustees, Brian Bower, to join me. Oh, what a great day it is in the state of Florida, but more importantly, in this nation. Honoring the achievements and service of St. Augustine's University alumnus, the Honorable Justice James E.C. Perry. St. Augustine's University acknowledges with extreme gratitude the achievements and service of the Honorable Justice James E.C. Perry, class of 1966. Let it be known to his family, friends, and the entire St. Augustine's University community worldwide. Whereas Justice Perry received his bachelor's degree in business administration and accounting from St. Augustine's College, now University, in 1966. Whereas Justice Perry is a devoted alumnus of St. Augustine's University and gives his time, talents, influence, and to better the university he serves. And treasures. I need to add that part. Whereas Justice Perry was initiated into the Gamma Omicron chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated in 1964 and is currently a fully paid lifetime member. I'm a Q, by the way.
2 Qs, by the way.
Where Justice Perry decided to pursue a career as an attorney after hearing of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. while serving in the U.S. Army as a first lieutenant in 1968. Whereas Justice Perry earned his Juris Doctor degree from Columbia Law School in 1972 and moved to Sanford, Florida to practice law. Whereas Justice Perry became the first African American appointed to the 18th Judicial Circuit after being named as a circuit court judge in Sanford by then Governor Jeb Bush in 2000. Whereas Justice Perry received an appointment by then Governor Charlie Crist to the Florida Crist. I'm still thinking about, it was Easter, it was just Easter, okay? Whereas Justice Perry received an appointment by then Governor Charlie Crist to the Florida Supreme Court in 2009 and served until his retirement on December 30th, 2016. Whereas Justice Perry was recognized in 2021 by the Seminole County, Florida Commissioners with unanimous vote to name the new $65 million 4-story courthouse annex and 5-story parking garage constructed at the county's Five Points complex. Whereas Justice Perry has served as a member of the St. Augustine's University Board of Trustees since 2018, including 5 years as the Board of Trustees Chair from 2019 to 2024. Now, therefore, it be resolved that we, the sons and daughters of St. Augustine's University, express our congratulations to Justice Perry and present him and his family with a copy of this proclamation with the reminder that a falcon is not an ordinary bird. On this day,
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now we're going to ask Reverend Willie C. Barnes from the Macedonian Missionary Baptist Church to come up for the benediction. Did you say something about miracles? Well, we'll leave that in case he shows up here shortly. As our ceremony comes to a close, I'd like to invite all in attendance to come inside the Annex entrance hall to see Justice Perry's portrait, a timeline of work done, and partake in some refreshments. And the story that he shared with you is absolutely true. When I called Justice Perry, and I was told by my assistant, "You're really going to call the Supreme Court judge?" And I says, "I've talked to a few judges in my day. I think I'll try to pull this off." And he was very kind, and when I asked him if he would be willing to accept that this building be named after him, he absolutely said, "Do you know something I don't? Have you been talking to my doctors?" Very humble man. You actually, as a taxpayer, did help pay for the building. So. But it speaks a lot of Seminole County and the history of Seminole County for all of us to be able to gather here today with so many elected officials, so many from the judiciary, so many from the community, and so many from the folks from Justice's family and friends to celebrate this great rendering and have this building put in place here in Seminole County. So without further ado, if our stakeholders would please join me in the cutting of the ribbon and officially opening of the Annex.